you're going to hire someone, treat them like you would have been treated if you were at their position. If you're going to put out a product, make sure it's something that if you saw it on the shelf, you would want to buy it. Never forget that even though you're sitting at the top, that you were once at the bottom.
What's up, everybody? This is Fred Richani. We have right here via Zoom a very special guest. He is the co-founder of Paragon Talent Group with Dean Mojo Muhtadi. We're talking to the talented Steve Kaye, who's planning some big things, especially during WrestleMania week. Steve, thank you so much for your time. How's everything going?
Everything's going great, but talented Steve Kaye. I don't know about that one.
Listen, my friend, you've had quite the resume. Hard Rock, WWE, now the manager, the agent to some of the biggest stars in pro wrestling. And you guys, of course, are promoting the second annual Slamfest at the Palms during WrestleMania weekend, April 15th to the 18th. We'll get to all that in just a second, but for anybody that maybe isn't familiar with your work, can you catch us up a little bit, how you kind of got involved in the world of business and how it led you to the world of sports and entertainment?
Absolutely. So I had, besides being the biggest wrestling fan growing up, I had no aspirations to be in the wrestling space. Never wanted to be a wrestler. Knew I didn't look the part. Didn't feel like something I needed to be doing. Didn't really have the aspirations to go work for one of the organizations, but I really loved entertainment and I really loved music. So most of my college time was spent honing in on figuring out what in the music space I wanted to be in. And I figured it out right as I was graduating college. And I started my career at the Hard Rock in Las Vegas, the hotel that's now Virgin Hotel. But back then I started as like a projects manager and all of that, but I worked my way up to becoming the programming director for music there. So that was booking artists from Machine Gun Kelly to Kevin Hart to Flo Rida to DJs like Flux Pavilion and the artist Rehab and Boys Noise, Audion, Madeon, all these amazing EDM artists, rock artists, Blink-182, Travis Barker, All American Rejects, like so many incredible bands from like my youth, the modern era, people that were just coming up, that were going to become something. I really got to see a good mix of everything. But one thing about Vegas is a lot of wrestlers like coming to Vegas. So a lot of the wrestlers started popping into town, coming and staying at the Hard Rock. The first one being Chris Jericho, who introduced me to Lord knows how many people as the guy who could really take care of them in Las Vegas. And eventually, a gentleman by the name of Dean Muhtadi came in, or I guess Mojo Rawley at the time. He came in with the Gronkowskis. They were there for a big celebration after Rob won, I believe, his second Super Bowl, but it was also one of his brother's bachelor parties. So I got sucked into the tornado of the Gronkowskis and Mojo and all this. They became some of my closest friends. But after 5 years in Vegas, I felt like I needed to find my way off of the party circuit, and I took the off ramp, went back to school, got my master's over at Cornell, started working for a company called Church and Dwight, doing what I thought was a big boy job and trying to sit at a desk all day, and it just wasn't for me. And then I randomly got a call from WWE to go work in talent relations, and I was like, this feels more like me. Did it. Proud of my time there. I'm proud of the people I worked with. Got to meet some incredible people there. But the most important thing was I learned a lot about the business, and it allowed me and Dean, when we both became available at the same time, to start Paragon. And what we thought was going to be just a small boutique little marketing agency that helped talent find sponsorships, partnerships, things like that, became this full-fledged event company, agency, talent representation firm, marketing firm. All these things rolled into one, and I didn't see it coming. And but sometimes it's better to just, not look too far into the future and just like take one step at a time and figure out what the next step is. And eventually it leads to pretty big things.
It does. And it's one thing to run your own business. It's another thing to work with one of your best friends as well. And as you
Yeah.
said, things grew kind of exponentially. So
Anyone who tells you to not mix business and personal is a freaking liar, because I don't think this company works without the fact that he and I are so close as friends first. Our friendship has allowed us to be very honest with each other in ways that I think most business partners can't be honest with each other. We've had knockdown dragouts just like any other successful business. But at the end of the day, we recognize that every time that we feel that we're on opposite sides on something. It's for the betterment of the business, and that's what our growth. That's what our growth comes from. The fact that we can butt heads with each other, find a solution in the middle because we're very different people, and continue moving forward day after day.
Love that. Hey, somebody also works with my best friend who's like my brother. Yeah, we can be very direct with each other, and that's usually a good thing. You don't have to sugarcoat anything. It's just
No,
direct to the point, and keep it moving. Nobody takes anything personal, and just focus on the next goal, right?
you just recognize that when the day's over, you got a handshake and a glass of whiskey ready.
Exactly. So this might be a little more granular for some fans watching and listening to
Sure.
this, but how did you guys kind of scale your business as it really started to grow, as you got more clients and as you became a boutique, as you said, to a full-blown full service agency?
So I think our scaling was um, like run, sprint, walk very much, where we came in and said, we're going to dedicate everything to this immediately. We worked really, really hard at the beginning. We grabbed as many people as possible, made as many connections as possible. And then we sat down and stopped and went, all right, what is the lay of the land now? What do we have here? What are our core competencies that we can run with? Where are the relationships we need to build to help XYZ talent achieve these dreams? Because that might not be us to can do that, but we know the people that can help them with that. What do we need to get better at? What are we already experts in? And that was how we mapped it out. Scaling in terms of staffing, now that's been the harder part because this is a very unique industry, as you know. And you need a good mix of a good head on your shoulders, just in, street smarts, so to speak. You need to understand the wrestling business because it is unlike any other business. And I would be lying to you if I said I understood 100% of anything because I'm trying to learn a little bit more every day. But we are as close to experts as you could possibly be in this space. That's for sure. And then the third thing is just having a good business sense. And to find someone who's got street smarts, book smarts, and wrestling smarts is really freaking difficult. So we've been very lucky that we've found a few people, like shout out Chelsea, Lindsay, Tammy, so, some of the people that have worked really tightly with us, Mac being one of them, Megan. We built a team of people that fully have ingratiated themselves into what we do, have indoctrinated themselves into the creed that we follow, which is we don't rest until every client's happy. So
Yeah.
it's been a struggle to in order to have managed growth because we've gone through many periods of unmanaged growth where it's exponential and we just have to drink from the fire hose and figure out a way to keep everything in.
And
We figure out a way. It's like Jurassic Park, life finds a way.
you guys certainly found a way. And I asked the dean about this too. With wrestling, it is unique because on one hand, it's great. There is more guaranteed money than ever.
Hmm.
However, and with respect to AW and WWE and everything,
Sure.
there's also a lot of payments, bonuses, particularly for premium live events, pay-per-views, whatever you want to call them, that are kind of more discretionary. And at times
Hmm.
they don't necessarily make mathematic sense. It's kind of like, oh, trust me, bro. Like it's different from like getting a percentage at the gate or anything like that, maybe in years past in
Which
other
is still
sports.
done in some places, by the way.
Okay. Oh, it is. Okay. So,
Yeah.
so for contracts that maybe have that kind of murkiness or a little bit, I guess, how do you guarantee that your client gets the best possible deal while knowing that certain payments or bonuses are kind of more, I guess, at the discretion or arbitrary as opposed to, set in stone?
So not to give the whole secret sauce away because, we do have competition in this space. And although I think that there are some tremendous other agents in this space besides us. And I think that there are some, every talent should have representation. And if we can't work with everybody, everybody should be working with someone. So I will say that. Having said that, I think that the key with that murkiness is to find as much clarity as possible. Clear up and make the most important thing your downside guarantee. The money that is absolutely coming in. And if you're comfortable with that, and if you feel good about that, all the things that I refer to as soft benefits, um, anything from first class travel to discretionary bonuses to things like that, that all becomes secondary. If you're happy with the financial package that you are making first and foremost, everything else feels like a bonus. So I think that you're navigating the murkiness by ensuring that the most important pieces remain the most important pieces.
Very well said.
What did my
Very
partner
succinct.
say to that?
Yeah, we never really knew how those ever worked out, no matter how hard some of us tried to track them. Yeah, in the representation game, you're always trying to look out for your talent, right? And make sure that they're getting a rate that is fair, that makes them happy, but also puts them in a position where, they can retire hopefully when they're done if they put in enough time, in the big leagues. You don't want to see these people that broke their backs for a company for 10, 20 years, literally, and then they're having to work indies for peanuts. And just to figure out how to pay their medical bills or find a way to live. I mean, that was the initial goal for the company, was to prevent all that crap. So having been there and having sat in that seat that they're in, I think it puts us in a very unique place to negotiate these contracts and maybe get a little bit more creative with creating strategy for the talent's future. So yeah, the game is always changing and evolving. You got to keep a pulse on that. It can be a very lucrative place, but you can always also leave very unfulfilled, which is why making sure you got a team in your corner, someone to watch out for yourself, it's always really important.
And the one benefit to what we do, and I'll give Dean all the credit in the world for this, is like there are very few, I would argue, probably nobody as successful in the third party marketing space in the wrestling game, finding brand partnerships for talent like Dean has. And that's money, especially for companies like AEW, TNA, people that are in New Japan, CMLL, all of the majors that aren't WWE, where you can kind of have this freedom to do other things. That's kind of the thing that helps keep people happy too. Like, yeah, you're making good money on this contract, but let's make sure that you've got some discretionary payments coming in, and ones that we can keep track of that have, actionable like results to them. Like, hey, you post this, you're going to make this, those kinds of things. Plus, we book well over 3,000 indies and signings a year, which keeps people busy as well. So it doesn't start and end with that main roster contract or, developmental contract or anything along those lines, because there's a lot more we can do for them and we want to do for them.
Well, you're certainly doing quite a bit. I commend you for that. If I'm not mistaken, you guys also represent a little wrestler by the name of Mercedes Moné, aka Sasha Banks, right? Do I have my facts still straight there?
We have done some marketing projects for Mercedes. She has a very large team for all of the things that she does, but we're very proud of some of the projects we worked on with her. None the least of which being her Crunchyroll anime collection that she did over last summer. That was a really cool capsule that resulted in her going over to Japan and having speaking at the World Anime Awards. She sat with Megan the Stallion at that, which was a really cool collab. And then we worked very tightly with Mercedes to create this incredible line that I think some pieces are still available on Crunchyroll's website if you want to go check it out. But really cool pieces that didn't feel like wrestling merch, didn't feel like anime merch, but just felt like really cool stuff you could see in streetwear and things you'd want to see someone walking around in a mall.
That's great. And does somebody like that kind of inspire you guys who bet on themselves? She bet on herself. Obviously, it's worked out
Absolutely.
tremendously.
Look, I think that any wrestler has bet on themselves in some way or another, because there are no guarantees in this space. Even those that come from a tremendous lineage of, success in the wrestling business, you still have to carve your own niche and be successful. Roman Reigns didn't get there by himself. Charlotte Flair did not get there by herself. The Rock did not get there by himself. Cody Rhodes did not get there by himself. Despite having an amazing name, it does not happen alone. So I think that every single wrestler at some point has taken a bet on themselves. Now, people like Mercedes, who made the decision she did, took everything on her own, went to New Japan, went to AEW, and really built this whole career of truly being her own boss or CEO. I think really took it to another level. Another person who did as well, I would say, is Darby Allin. I think that Darby has really walked to the beat of his own drummer for a long time, and you can see that in some of the projects he undertakes, whether it's climbing Everest or building a skate park for charity in his hometown. I think that we pride ourselves with working with as many people as possible that have unique outside interests that we can help cultivate.
Another thing you're doing is promoting the second annual Slam Fest at
Slam
Palms.
Fest 2.
Slam Fest 2, April 15th to the 18th. And man, there is no overselling this. You have multiple promotions under one banner. My personal favorite that I want to check out in Vegas, of course, CMLL running I believe their first American show ever.
So they have run in America with partners, but this is the first true CMLL show in America. CMLL is bringing their talent in. CMLL is running the show. CMLL is organizing everything. So this is Arena Mexico in the Pearl Theater. This is an unheard of thing because the way CMLL has always done business is finding partners to do two shows with. This is their show. So you're going to have Persephone, Mascara Dorada, Mystico, Hechicero, all these incredible names who are like lighting it up down in Mexico and in AEW as well. Can't take that away from them either. Coming in and showing their stuff. And it's going to be one of the top shows of the entire weekend.
How hard was it to kind of get all these different promoters under one roof and kind of agree to the different times and collaboration?
I think it's a very different time in wrestling. I think that, and I don't want to use the term forbidden door because I think that belongs to someone else. But B, I think it's cliche at this point to say that any show that has or anything that has multiple promotions is a forbidden door. That really belongs to one thing. I think that at the end of the day, the majority of wrestling companies just want to put on good wrestling shows and are willing to stretch their arms out, grab another company and say, let's do this together. People put egos aside. Everybody put egos aside on this. Everybody saw the grand vision, which was let's give fans something spectacular. Let's give fans something they have not seen before, and let's give fans something that they're going to want to come to year after year after year.
And you guys are certainly doing that. I mean, you had the free pool party on the WrestleMania
Free pool
Sunday.
party with some incredible names. Wait till you see who's going to be there between oh man, Ric Flair and the Hardys, and there will be so many different names that you haven't even heard about yet that will be there. We've got Soraya's live show, which is going to be awesome. If you've never heard Rule Breakers, it is an incredible podcast that she puts on. Mick's 40 years in wrestling. Mick is such an incredible orator and comedian. You can't miss it. Um, there's so many of those like ancillary live shows that have so much going for them. Bully Ray is going to have an incredible night up in the Ghost Bar like he did last year, and Bully can party. I will tell you that that man knows how to party. But yeah, it's truly like, look, we're not going to shy away from the fact that there is so much wrestling stuff you could be doing in Las Vegas, and I implore everybody to check out as many things as they possibly can. Go to WWE World, go to WrestleCon, go to WrestleMania, go to the Collective. But if you want to see some really high-end wrestling and some really amazing fan encounter opportunities, come over to Slam Fest, join us there, pick a couple of shows, come to everything. Whatever you want to do, there will be something there for every fan.
For sure, and that also includes, of course, Stardom, New Japan Pro Wrestling, House of Glory, Maple Leaf Pro.
TJPW doing a show. They have a couple of shows in Texas coming up this month. They're really trying to expand hard into America. Some special surprises to be announced for their shows as well. I know of some people on that card that people are going to be very surprised about. House of Glory, the names they're working on right now, you'll be very excited to hear once they come down. But like House of Glory, I live in New York now, and House of Glory is just absolutely far and away the best independent promotion in New York City. And what they're putting together, the shows they're putting together. I mean, the show they just did with MJF was amazing. They've had Mercedes a bunch of times. We just announced one of our talents, Mina Shirakawa, for their next show on March 21st. So if you can imagine that's what they're doing in New York City, can't wait to see what they're doing in Las Vegas.
For sure. And we'll put that all in the show notes for anybody that's watching and listening online. Slam Fest at the Palms, April 15th to the 18th. You can check out Palms website for individual tickets. You can also follow Mojo at Stay Hyped, which has all the information all right there as well. Steve, we really do appreciate the time. Do you have a little bit more time for some random and rapid fire questions just to get to know you better?
Of course, bring it on.
All right. Favorite late night snack or cheat meal?
Ooh, tortilla chips and guacamole.
All right. You say you live in New York now. What's your favorite spot in New York?
Favorite restaurant in New York would probably be Danielle. Favorite place to chill is a place called the Ascent Lounge inside of Columbus Circle. It's a very small, intimate lounge where you can look out of the park and have a cocktail.
You said you grew up a wrestling fan. Who's your all-time favorite wrestler? Besides
And
Mojo, of course.
it's Edge. Edge has been my favorite. In fact, the reason why Edge is my favorite is the same reason why I love working with the people we do. And seeing them at autograph signings and how they interact with fans. Because I went to, in 2004, I was, I don't know, 12, 13 years old. I went to a book signing. Edge had his first book coming out, and it was right in my hometown. And I went. I had my book. I had my Edgehead shirt, and he looks at me. He grabs my book and he goes, "So you coming to the show tonight?" And I go, "No, I don't have tickets. You know, my dad can't take me." And he goes, "Sure you do." And then he hands me two tickets to that night's Raw house show. Um, and those are moments, that is a moment that I will never forget. And I tell Edge whenever I see him now how much that meant to me as a kid. And that's why I enjoy my job. It's seeing those moments. We went to the UK a couple weeks ago and I watched Darby Allin with fans like doing things like giving them the watch off my wrist, which he gave away my watch, but hey, it's okay. This kid was happier than ever. So yeah, Edge has been my favorite for that reason.
That's awesome. Any funny Mojo stories you're allowed to tell?
No, I have plenty I can't tell. Plenty I can't tell. He did take an amazing photo at my sister's wedding with my grandmother this weekend. He was the life of the party once again, just like he always is. I did not like the fact that he's going to take photo booth pictures of my grandmother, though.
Hey, well,
Didn't like
congrats
that.
to you and your family, though.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
You worked at WWE. I've talked to a lot of people on air, off air, who worked in WWE, especially on the corporate side. And
Sure.
while they're grateful for their time there, at times the work-life balance could be a little much or at times non-existent. So I know as an entrepreneur, you're always working on your own hours, but how's your lifestyle now compared to when you worked at WWE and some of these other bigger companies?
It is 20 times harder now than it's been anywhere else I've worked. I thought I worked hard at WWE. I thought I worked really hard at the Hard Rock. You don't know hard work until it's something that you own. When you own something, you give everything to it.
What's your best piece of advice for success?
Find a niche that most people haven't thought about yet, become an expert in it, and just work the way that you would want to see the work done. So if you're going to hire someone, treat them like you would have been treated if you were at their position. If you're going to put out a product, make sure it's something that if you saw it on the shelf, you would want to buy it. Never forget that even though you're sitting at the top, that you were once at the bottom.
Very well said. And what's the biggest lesson you've learned since running Paragon?
No 2 days are going to be the same, and you cannot sweat the small stuff.
A lot of gems here. Appreciate it. And we got to share on one more high note. For anybody that's not already convinced, why should people check out Slamfest at the Palms?
There are some opportunities with Slamfest to see some wrestling that you do not typically see in the United States that you will instantly fall in love with and will actually probably force you to jump on a plane to either Canada or Mexico or New York City or Tokyo.
Great selling point. You sold me there. Well, Steve, thank you so much for your time. Actually, bonus question.
Shoot.
Is there anything you wish I asked you in this interview?
What show am I most excited for?
What show are you most excited for, my friend?
You know, it's a great question. I've really thought about it. In all honesty, I think that the pool party that we throw there, that we threw last year, just because of my background throwing events such as pool parties in Las Vegas, is probably my favorite. It's also the moment where everybody, both fans and talent alike, get their chance to let their hair down a little bit and really just enjoy themselves in a safe environment where they can just be themselves.
Thank you so much for the time, Steve. Before I let you go, where can fans find you online? And in addition to Slamfest, anywhere else we can find you next?
Yeah, you can find me at Stephen MK. I'm pretty sure that Kaye. I'm pretty sure that's my handle on everything, although I'm not the best on social. Where you can find me next, probably the dry cleaner down the street on 57th. I got to go get a couple of suits picked up. And then after that, maybe this restaurant called Wolf at Nordstrom. If you're ever in New York and you want a really good pasta meal, second floor of Nordstrom's is an very much hidden gem. Great pasta place.